from filmfestivalcircuit.com and the director of the Oregon Documentary Film Festival. We just finished up the Oregon Documentary Film Festival Summer 2022 event at the Clinton Street Theater on Sunday, August the 21st. One of the films that we screened was called Lowest to Highest. I'm joined today by director Kirk Horton. Hey, Kirk.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me. Appreciate you putting this on.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to do this with us. Congrats on finishing as a finalist for the Best Cinematography Award. The judges had nothing but good things to say about all the footage you captured and just all the great things about how you put this film together. So good job.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for selecting it and screening it, and it's great to be part of the circuit with you guys.
Good stuff. Well, it was exciting. It was a very, very good crowd. Your film screened very well. People really enjoyed it. They enjoyed the story. I think there was a little bit of, man, what else is going on after this? I guess we kind of expected like this long, like this is what happened after this. But I'm going to not give away the synopsis of the film and let you tell us in your own words, what is this film about?
Yeah, so the film, Lowest to Highest, is about two guys who are based in Portland, kind of up by you guys, Willie and Yassine. They're both athletes for Columbia Sportswear and have been runners and outdoor enthusiasts their entire lives. They have both experienced pretty severe forms of adversity through alcoholism and drug addiction and depression, and have kind of found running specifically as a way to overcome those obstacles and a way to sort of deal with their inner demons in a lot of ways. So 10 years ago, they started something called White East Wolfpack, which is a group in the Portland area that helps people going through similar problems get outside and get active and find themselves through moving their body. And that can range in running around the block to running a 100-mile race, really kind of accepting all forms of activity and all abilities. And then as a sort of celebration, celebration's an interesting word just because how grueling it was. As a celebration of their 10-year anniversary as business partners and friends and running partners, they decided to run this route called the Lowest to Highest route in California, which travels from the bottom of Badwater Basin, which is at negative 282 feet, to the top of Mount Whitney, which is the highest point in the lower 48 at 14,500 feet. And so it's a 135-mile route. It's not a trail. Most of it's off trail or on dirt roads, backcountry gravel roads, that kind of thing. So it's not easy by any means. And I think it has a cumulative elevation gain of 30,000 feet. So it was this celebration for them and this kind of metaphorical journey of going from a low point to a high point, as they have done in their lives. And then they did physically throughout this race, or run rather.
135 miles and easy should never go in the same sentence.
Yeah. No, and doing it in somewhere like Death Valley is just such a epic setting for something like that. The first 20 miles of the run, you start at the bottom of Badwater Basin and you just have a 10,000-foot climb, and there's no trail. So it kind of slaps you in the face right off the bat.
Well, if it was hard on them, it had to be hard on you. How'd this production go? I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, it was great. I spent a week with the guys up in Portland and the surrounding area in September, getting all the B-roll and the interviews that you see in the film before they actually go and do the adventure. And then myself and a producer and the cinematographer, Gordon Coe, the producer, and Brennan Davis, the cinematographer, headed down to Death Valley with the guys in October. It was fun. It was grueling. It was not a lot of sleep. Luckily, there are a lot of roads close to where the guys were going. So we had to hike off trail a little bit, or on trails off the roads a little bit, just to get to some of the higher points on the route. So Telescope Peak, which is that first climb, we hiked into film. And then Brendan is a great runner as well. So he ran with them for, 10 miles one night, just getting shots as they moved. And then we all got to climb up Mount Whitney at the end, which was pretty amazing. But yeah, filming them overnight and sort of spending that night awake was, I think, where we captured some of the best stuff. But some of the times where we were most sleepless, just kind of waiting in the dark, and then all of a sudden you'd see a headlamp and you wouldn't know how far away it was, and you just have to wait for hours until they showed up. So it's cool. I mean, getting down there is obviously beautiful, and I think some of the stuff we captured we were really proud of.
It's the magic of just being embedded, right? There was just like there comes a time, and I've had a chance to work on docs myself as an audio engineer, and it's one of those things where at first things are for the camera, statements are pointed and specific, but then after a while you kind of get into that real life thing where the camera isn't causing the nerves anymore, and I could see how just natural. It's like we really got to know two people. It was really special.
Totally. And I think too, like, that they touched a little bit on it in kind of that final scene where they're talking about why they run and why they do things like this and why they put themselves through such grueling tasks. And you get to see a little bit of that where they are at those lowest moments and they're struggling. And, there's that one shot of, I think it's Willie or maybe Yassine is just sitting on a camp chair, just covered in a sleeping bag with like a Coke beside him. He's just not having a good time. But yeah, like you were saying, in those moments, you can't put on any sort of facade. You are who you are when you're 80 miles into this thing and freezing cold in the middle of the night. So yeah, I think those moments, capturing those on film is always a really cool thing to watch.
Any learning experiences from this? I mean, anything that you learned on this production that you'll be learned lessons for future productions?
Yeah, definitely. I think on the human side of things, whenever you watch someone do something like that, you learn a thing or two. I've been lucky enough to watch and film a few sort of ultra races before, and it's every single time it's just amazing to watch somebody run 100+ miles or move 100+ miles, and you can see them at the highest highs at the beginning or throughout the run, or the lowest lows where they're like barely putting one foot in front of the other. And I think picking up on sort of that perseverance and also almost stubbornness that people can have in those worlds is really inspirational, just to watch, like, physically when someone's so down that they can pick themselves back up and without the help of other people just sort of get through the tough times and keep moving. I think from a production standpoint, it's always really challenging going out into remote areas like that to film, just because you are similarly kind of on your 2 feet and you got what you can carry and you don't have any lights, and whatever you can get out there is what you got. Sure. And so that's always a learning experience of just like combining sort of the outdoors and physical movement and filmmaking all jumbled into one ball that hopefully will function correctly. I think more concretely, the editing process for this is really fun. Just getting to know kind of the story that we were telling and how we wanted to tell it, what we wanted to say. We edited over like 4 months or 5 months or so. And that was really informational and educational, just like, taking this life story of these two guys in some ways and boiling it down to 20 minutes is a challenge, and teaches you a lot about sort of what you want to say and what you want to include and what you can't include, and having conversations with them as well, because it is a representation of who they are in a lot of ways. I think with every film, you're going to have elements of that, and this is no exception.
All right, man. Well, good stuff. This turned out really well. What are you working on in the future?
Yeah, got a few projects in the works. Been working a lot with a regenerative agriculture company here in Boulder, which is where I'm based. So that's been really fun, just telling stories of farmers and sort of shorter vignettes. Working on a freediving film in the fall down in Mexico, which will be cool. It's a UK-based woman who sort of similarly has a lot of history with sort of mental health challenges that she's dealt with, and she sort of found freediving as a way to overcome those and learn more about herself. And then just a bunch of shooting. Been doing a lot of running stuff lately, which has been awesome. It's been cool to sort of like dip into the track space and the shorter distances, and then sort of zoom back out and film people doing not anything similar to what Willie and Yassine did, but sort of the longer, like 100-mile distance races.
Yeah, that's not many human beings do what they did. So that was very, very cool. Well, look, it's been great spending time to find out a little bit more about the background of this film and about your background. We sincerely appreciate it. And is there anything you want to add before we go?
Yeah, just thanks so much for having me on. Really appreciate you guys screening the film. Thanks for the Oregon judges for checking it out. I think it's always hard and a vulnerable position to be in to share your story with somebody. So thanks to Willie and Yassine for really opening their hearts and being themselves on camera. That's never an easy ask. Both, in interviews, but also in running 135 miles through the desert. So thanks to those guys. And then thanks to the crew that I mentioned, Gordon and Brendan, and then our editor, Brian Stansky, did an amazing job. And yeah, thanks to Columbia as well for being an awesome support for the film. I think it's been amazing to see the reception of the film and, places like you guys and other festivals screening it, but also just through Columbia's channels and people reacting to it. Willie and Yassine were able to have a little screening in the Portland area. They had like a little potluck for their anniversary celebration and screened the film. And I think everyone there was appreciative of them being them and helping share their story and inspiring others to get out there.
For sure. All right, my man. Well, thanks a lot again for taking the time. And
yeah, thanks so much, Michael. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
No worries. You're very welcome. Thank you.